So I have a question. You guys ready for the question? I gave you guys some homework. Does anybody remember that I gave you guys some homework? How many of you, I want to see a raise of hands, how many of you went and watched the movie The Matrix? Let me see. Okay, keep your hands up high. Keep your hands up. I have some prizes. They're giving out prizes. You that raised your hand, keep them up. You get the red pill. You're willing to see how deep the rabbit hole goes. Okay. Raise your hand if you did see it. If you did see it, we still got a couple more. We're almost done. Anybody else? Yeah, see, that's what happens when you don't listen to the teacher. I'm just kidding. How many of you didn't watch the movie, and even though I told you to? Raise your hand high. Okay, we have prizes for you too. That's the blue pill. So please keep your hand up. Keep them up high. Yeah, you anti-sci-fi. Go ahead, keep them up high. Yep, you want your prizes too. You want to wake up tomorrow and pretend like it's just every other day. You don't want to know how deep the rabbit hole goes. They got a couple more. Are we all out? You want to give out the red? Are those red, Josh? Give them some red. Yeah, they deserve. They need to go down the rabbit hole. Glenda needs to go down the rabbit hole. Give it up for Glenda, y'all. Glenda needs to go down the rabbit hole. Been eating too many blue pills, Glenda. All right, that was fun. If you come next week and you've watched a movie, there might be some prizes for you, just saying, all right? Yeah. I know, it takes work. It takes work to do your homework, doesn't it? I know. I hated homework. That's why I didn't do very good in school. All right. So I think there might be a picture of the actual Matrix. Is there, Colleen, maybe just a green picture? That's okay. It's right there. Okay. So you guys remember this is what the Matrix looks like. So last week, if you weren't here, I explained that the Matrix is a fabricated reality designed by machines to keep humanity docile and unaware that their bodies are being used as a power source. And last week, I also attempted to present that the Matrix can be interpreted as a metaphor for religious control and a parallel religious critique. A structured system of beliefs and doctrines is seen as an artificial framework meant to shape people's perceptions, this is wild, emotions, and behavior. The Matrix functions similarly to how some view organized religion as a tool of control. And if this is the case, this is what I asked, if this is the case, then the main character, Neo, is us. He's you. He is me. And all of us, at one point in time, were stuck in the Matrix. We were stuck in a structured system of beliefs and doctrines that were meant to shape our perceptions, our emotions, and our behavior. All of us, I said this last week, I'll say it again, all of us have traditional ideas and beliefs that would possibly be healthy if we deconstructed from those beliefs. Now, last week, I did not say this last week because it happened last week. After service, had a handful of you come up to me, which I love that. And one of you was concerned, or at least expressed that you were concerned, that the word demolition or deconstruction sounds a lot like demolition, right? Sounds like that. And it sounds kind of scary when people say that they're deconstructing, okay? So I want to give you the definition, the actual definition. This is vocabulary.com. I gave it last week. I'll give it to you again. This is what to deconstruct means, okay? To deconstruct a piece of writing or a work of art is to analyze it by carefully examining its ideas and language, especially to expose its contradictions and hidden meanings, okay? Deconstruction, I'll say this, doesn't mean demolition, even though it sounds similar. But that doesn't mean that some people's beliefs won't be demolished in the process of deconstruction. Sometimes beliefs can accidentally, they can and should be demolished, okay? Some of them. And when you're exposing contradictions in your own theology, in the Bible, in your own belief system, that is what happens, okay? Years ago, it was the last house that we owned and lived in up in Ohio before we moved here. I may have told this story before, I'm sure I did. I'm going to tell you again. But the last house that we owned, we had bought the house from someone that when they were selling it to us seemed a little bit nervous about us buying the house, okay? I don't know if you've ever been in these situations, but it felt kind of weird when we were buying it, like they were kind of hiding some things in the house that they had fixed. And so we're in the house. It's going into the dead of winter, which if you know Ohio, there is a dead of winter in Ohio. God bless those people. I'm in the kitchen, I'm in the dining room, and all of a sudden, all the windows are closed. I can feel a cold breeze of air hit the back of my neck. And I instantly was freaked out because I'd already been seeing signs that there was some trouble with the walls. I'd already been seeing insects and different things in the house that shouldn't have been in there, trying to kill all the insects, trying to figure out where they're coming from. But I feel this cold air go on my neck. And I looked at my wife after, during dinner or lunch or whatever it was, and I said, hey, after this meal, I'm going to go rip those cabinets out. Because we had another kitchen, and it would have been fine, and I'm like, I got to see what's going on behind it. So I pulled the cabinets out. I pulled one out, and I could kind of see I needed to pull more out, and I pulled more out and pulled more out. And all of a sudden, I could see sunlight beaming in from the bottom of the wall. Now, if you're inside a house, at the bottom of your wall, if you see sunlight, that's not a good sign, okay? That's not good. And so I started ripping all the drywall out. I could see that there was mold. All the 2x4s that were in the wall were all rotted. So I panicked a little bit, but I took a week of just processing what to do. So I waited a week. I went outside, and I started to pull the siding off around the back of the house. And the entire back into the house was completely rotted. The seal plate, everything on the bottom, the whole foundation, basically, right? So I started working my way around. And what you're looking for is a dry spot, a spot that's solid, a spot to tag onto that you can rebuild off of that. And I'm calling my cousin, explaining to him the scenario, and he's like, Matt, once you find that spot, just stop digging. And unfortunately, in that process of pulling things out, dissecting things, looking at things, I had to take out a lot more than I had previously anticipated. I had to rip out things that I was not planning on ripping out. Plumbing and cabinets and insulation and electrical things, all that. But I'll tell you, that wasn't my favorite part of the process. My favorite part was the reconstruction, right? The part of putting it back. That was actually my favorite part. Now, this word can apply to our spiritual life, and I want to read to you the definition of the word reconstruction. Reconstruction in the Collins Dictionary means the reconstruction of a building, a structure, or road is the activity of building it again because it has been damaged. Vocabulary.com says when you put something back together or rebuild it, you do a reconstruction, like the reconstruction of a neighborhood after a flood or earthquake. The Merriam is the one that I appreciate the most out of these definitions. It says the action of reconstructing is the act or process of rebuilding, repairing, or restoring something, okay? Now, I like that word restore when we're talking about reconstruction because one of the main things I love about restoring houses is you get to put it back how you want it to. Like you really do. You get to make it your own. You get to decide what it looks like, and you get to make it, in fact, better than it was before. And my goal was to make, this was my only goal, truthfully, when I was doing the house, was my goal was to make what was outside not be able to get in. That was a pretty good goal. What's outside needs to be outside, and what's inside needs to be inside. And yes, my hope is that one day, if any of you decide the process of leaving the religious matrix, that you'll begin that process. But I also hope that you'll make it not so easy to go back into the religious matrix. That's my hope. And I want to give you some tools, I want to give you some techniques, I want to give you some ways to not only leave the religious matrix, but to remain outside of that. Or if you go back in, at least to be prepared, okay? So, you guys ready? 4 ways, I'm sorry, I think it's 3 ways, but 3 ways to stay outside the religious matrix, okay? Number 1, you need to free your mind. And with that, I have a quick video.
You think that's air you're breathing now? You're faster than this. Don't think you are. Know you are.
Come on, stop trying to hit me and hit me.
I know what you're trying to do. I'm trying to free your mind, Neo. But I can only show you the door. You're the one that has to walk through. You have to let it all go, Neo. Fear, doubt, and disbelief. Free your mind. Whoa. Right. No problem. Free my mind. Free my mind. No problem. Right.
All right, that's good. Be a good movie to watch, wouldn't it? You get prizes. You get all sorts of things. Did he make it? We can't really say. You know, we just, I don't know. We'll see. I love that part, right? Morpheus said, I'm trying to free your mind, Neo, but I can only show you the door. You're the one that has to walk through it. Now, Neo, if you don't know this, Neo went through a process of freeing his mind, but it wasn't overnight. It wasn't when he first took the pill, right? What Morpheus didn't say, that I'll say, is freeing your mind isn't just going through one door, but taking steps beyond the door. Okay, some of you are like, man, I got grace. I just want you to know that's just walking through the door. There are steps beyond the door that you will have to take. It's not an overnight process, but you have to go through that. So what are some of the steps of freeing your mind? I want to actually give you a few of those steps. The first one is to reform your mind, okay? Romans 12:2 in the Passion, it says, stop imitating the ideals and opinions of the culture around you, but be inwardly transformed by the Holy Spirit through a total reformation of how you think. This will empower you to discern God's will as you live a beautiful life, satisfying and perfect in His eyes. Now, I don't know about you, but I have been retraining and reforming my mind to think a different way for years. I don't know what areas you need to retrain your mind, right? But in this movie, there's something called a construct that they keep going to, right? And I love it. It's that white scene. It's the scene. It's a program where he does the fight scene. He does the jump scene. That's all in this construct. And it is a safe place to be trained. The construct is a program used to load equipment, weapons, and virtual items before entering the simulated reality of the Matrix. It serves as a training environment where users can practice and prepare for operations within the larger Matrix simulation through it, though it is separate from it and allows for residual self-image to be projected by the user. And what I'll say is, if I want you all to know that in a sense, this is kind of like a construct, okay? This is a place where you can come and you can be, and this is a safe place where we can process thoughts. We can think about things that we've been taught. We can retrain our mind. If you want to use this as that place. Some people I know go to churches or places that are super legalistic to see what they don't want to think like. Some places that you might be able to use a construct of maybe it's at work. Maybe you need to recognize, like, how do people react when I am talking about things that I'm talking about? Maybe it's a book that you need to read. Maybe it's a video on YouTube. Maybe it's just a friend that doesn't think like you that you need to be around to help retrain your mind. But it's a different environment. Another step to help free your mind, this is kind of a Mattism, but it's start using your brain. Right? I don't know about you, but most of my life, my young Christian life, I was told to renew my mind. I was to control my thoughts. I used scriptures to control my thoughts. But not too many believers, unfortunately, are told to use their brain. Right? And what are things you were told, this is my question to you, what are things that you were told that are worth considering or reconsidering? What are thoughts, what are ideas, what are beliefs that you grew up hearing that you probably need to process for a little bit? I don't know about you, I grew up in something called purity culture. Does anybody know what that is? It's kind of a 90s, I see a handful of people, right? And if you don't know what purity culture is or was, it might still be around, I don't really know. But typically, girls got a ring. Does anybody remember this? And boys got a book. Now, it probably should have been around the other way around because the boys that I knew were not reading the books. But both, the ring and the book, both told you that if you failed with keeping yourself pure, then you become impure. Okay? I was taught that bad behavior would make you impure. And I would ask questions. Well, I thought that God made you pure. Right? And they'd say, yeah, he did, unless you do something bad, and then that makes you impure. And I don't know about you, but as a young person, pretty much every day, you're just impure all the time. And then you read, or then you hear things like, well, God can't even look at you until you're pure again. You know what kind of damage that does to people? Or he can't hear your prayers until you're pure again. Well, what do? You need to ask God for forgiveness so then he can make you pure one more time. And you have to ask, these are the things I say that are worth considering. Was that helpful thinking, right? Or was that damaging thinking? I wish I was told to use my mind on those specific topics. What ideas were you told that are worth reconsidering? The last step to free your mind is to keep asking questions. Keep asking questions. You've heard that probably a lot here at this church if you've been here for any amount of time. There's the scene where Trinity meets Neo at the beginning of the movie, and there's this conversation that they're having, and I love the conversation. She says Trinity says, I know why you're here. She's talking with Neo. She said, Neo, I know what you've been doing, why you hardly sleep, why you live alone, and why night after night you sit by your computer. You're looking for him. I know because I was once looking for the same thing, and when he found me, he told me I wasn't really looking for him. I was looking for the answer. And it's the question, Neo. It's the question that drives us. It's the question that brought you here. You know the question just as I did. Neo responds, what is the matrix? Trinity said, the answer is out there, Neo, and it's looking for you, and it will find you if you want it to. Asking questions isn't a bad thing. If you ever hear somebody say that in any type of group setting that you need to stop asking so many questions, you should probably get out. It's a part, I think asking questions is a part of the deconstruction process and a part of the reconstruction process. Asking questions is a step to help free your mind. Now, another way to keep outside the religious matrix, because that's what we're going through today, is you need to watch out for agents. Do you guys know what agents look like? I think we have a picture of an agent. There we go. I was going to use Gabe Wells, but I behaved myself, so. I struggle sometimes. That would have been good, right? His mom was running the computer, so there was a slight chance she wasn't going to let me do that, so. But there's this moment where Morpheus is walking with Neo, and he has a conversation with Neo as well. And he said, the Matrix is a system, Neo. That system is our enemy. But when you're inside, you look around, and what do you see? He said, businessmen, teachers, lawyers, carpenters, the very minds of the people we are trying to save. He said, but until we do, these people are still a part of that system, and that makes them our enemy. You have to understand, most of these people are not ready to be unplugged. I'll say that again. Most of these people are not ready to be unplugged, and many of them are so injured, so hopeless, dependent on the system that they will fight to protect it. Now, I wouldn't say that everyone that's still in the religious matrix is an enemy, but I'll say that there are those that won't like it if you make it out. I have run into many people, friends, family, just people that I've run into in general, where if you make it out of that religious matrix, they're not that excited for you. And some things I've learned, these are just little tips that I've learned about if you make it out of the system, these are things that I've learned when you're dealing with those people to do, right? Some thoughts that I've come to. Not everyone has to be on the same page as you, which is tough because you're kind of excited. You feel like you've made some ground in your own life. But I've learned, like when you're sharing with people or if you're visiting with people or you're just in relationship with people, not everyone has to be on the same page. Also, you can't convince everyone to think like you do. You could try. But I love it. I mean, that's what he said is only certain people are willing to wake up when they're willing to wake up and see it. And so you have to give them space for that. I know there was a time in my own life where I wasn't willing to see things that I didn't want to see, right? And you might say, well, Matt, we want to grow the church, so how do we get some more people in here? Like, we got to be able to say things and do things to grow the church. And here's what I'll tell you. I know how to grow a church, okay? I will tell you right now, I know how to grow a church. All I have to do is I have to stand up here, and I have to say, you need to be here every Sunday. You need to pay your tithe. You need to do all the right things. You need to make sure you're here so that you can hear me or anybody that's standing up here teach you how to live. You need to not do that, and you need to do this. Don't do those things. Make sure you do those things. And we'll get people here, right? Why would we get people here? Because people love it when you tell them how to think. They absolutely love it, right? You'll hear people say, well, Matt, I'm going to have to go somewhere where I can be fed. as if we're a horse trough. As if any church is a horse trough. People love the do good, get good, do bad, get bad gospel. They love it. People want to feel like their actions play a part. They want to feel like that. Grow your faith, do all the things I tell you, and God will make everything perfect for you. But I'm telling you today, that is still living in the religious matrix. And here's the God's honest truth. This is straight from me. I was not learning this week, but I really do think this is how I look at it. Some bad people get good. Did you know that? Like some bad people in life, they're going to get good things. And some good people are going to get bad. I see it happen all the time. I could stand up here and tell you if you do everything right and you do all the right things, well, God is he's going to make everything work perfectly in your life. But the unfortunate part about that is, at least in my own life, I can say it for me, it hasn't been the case. I wish it was that way. And then I've seen some bad people get off when I'm like, hey, God, did you see that? Like, that was a situation that person needs to, and they're fine. They live their whole lives. They live and die, having a great life, destroying other people's lives. It's just the way it is. I've come to the conclusion that regardless of that, God is still good. Regardless. When you see good things happen to bad people and bad things happen to good people. Now, don't be discouraged because we're a small church. It reminds me of the crew, if you watch the movie, it reminds me of the crew riding around on the Nebuchadnezzar, doing kingly-like duties, waking people up one at a time. We are small, but I hate to tell you, we have a really big attitude. The last way to keep outside the religious matrix is to choose to stay outside. And I have that last video for you.
Why, Mr. Anderson? Why? Why do you do it? Why? Why get up? Why keep fighting? You believe you're fighting for something, for more than your survival? Can you tell me what it is? Do you even know? Is it freedom or truth? Perhaps peace? Could it be for love? Illusions, Mr. Anderson, vagaries of perception. Temporary constructs of a feeble human intellect trying desperately to justify an existence that is without meaning or purpose. And all of them as artificial as the Matrix itself. Although only a human mind could invent something as insipid as love. You must be able to see it, Mr. Anderson. You must know it by now. You can't win. It's pointless to keep fighting. Why, Mr. Anderson? Why? Why do you persist?
Because I choose to.
That's a trilogy, you know, so if you want to watch all three, that's fine too. I didn't want to push you too hard on all that, but I love this. But one of the ways to stay out of the religious matrix is you get to choose, right? You get to choose to live beyond the matrix, which is not an easy road. It's not an easy road. I wish I was up here and just saying, man, it's easy. But it's not. I'll tell you what's easy. It's easy to be told what the rules are every week. That's actually easy. It's easy to be told what to do every single week. It's easy to come to church and check the box. It's easy to put somebody behind a pulpit and to tell you exactly how you need to live your life. It's easy to be told to read your Bible as if it's this perfect instruction manual. It's also easy to blame the devil for every bad thing in your life. It's harder to think for yourself. It's harder to behave because you want to, not because you have to. But isn't that something that we want for our own kids? It's harder to be nice because it's beneficial to you and to the recipient. Not because you're going to get a reward, or not because you're going to get jewels in your crown, or not because you're going to get a second story on your mansion in heaven. Sometimes it's harder to own your mistake rather than blame the flesh and the devil. That's hard to do. It's harder to read your Bible with eyes wide open. Historically, with all its contradictions, its inconsistencies, it's harder to read the Bible even when you can't pretend like those verses are not in there. I've had to do that many times. Like if I'm having a discussion with somebody and they're trying to show me verses that how to live and how to do all these, I'm like, I get it. I see those verses. I see that they're in there. I don't know what to tell you about that. It says a lot of things. It also says not to sleep with your stepmother. Do I need that in a Bible to do that? No, that doesn't make any sense. There's weird verses in the Bible. And it's harder to look at those scriptures and say, I see them. I see that they're there. When I first realized, when my house was letting air go into the dining room, when I first realized that I was going to have to take some things apart, and I was going to have to reconstruct it all, my instant feeling was, I just want to put a sign in the yard and say it's somebody else's problem, which I think a lot of people have gone through before, where all of a sudden just things start breaking and you're just like, this is too much for me. The problem is I couldn't lie to myself. I couldn't. I had to get in there and I had to find out what was going on. I knew it was work, but I wanted to make it better than it was before. And I feel the same way about church. I feel the same way about Christianity. I feel the same way about ministry. And this is why I stay in the game. It's what kept me and still keeps me in the ministry is I want to be a part of the reconstruction process. And what that looks like, I don't know exactly. I'm still learning because I'm still reconstructing things in my own life. And I have this, does anybody know who Lecrae is in here? I know I'm going out on a limb. He is a rapper. I get it. I know who I'm talking to. Probably half of you are like, I have no idea. Okay, but a friend of mine posted the lyrics to his rap recently, and I thought, that's awesome. The song is called Reconstruction. And I want to read the lyrics to you. It says, "This looks weird. What are you building? Dark and twisted fantasies, caste systems of casualties, lying lips inside the pulpit, false realities. Masoretic textual criticism, cynicism, homophobic pedophiles, double standards, agendas hidden, blasphemers, bad teachers, cash seekers, trash leaders, tricked a lot of people out of faith, and they detached Jesus. I came back to rescue the people. Lost in the jungle, recover the fumble, and let them see what the Son do. We tore down the walls of the temple, but left the foundation." Look at this. mold-infested roof, leaking politics of a proud nation. You think I'm here to flip tables, but I ain't started yet. Way too many blueprints, but I don't see many architects. Churches hide behind public policy with a face mask. Yeah, I'm talking heavy. I'm in another weight class anomaly weighted with ancient Near Eastern prophecy, scrutinizing Western philosophies and theologies, lifting up the skirts of you Pharisees like a pervert, hard-hearted, self-righteous distributors of church hurt. They say this is the end cause of the people are uninspired. The game ain't over yet. Just a couple players retired. Reconstruction. They said we were walking away from the faith. We wasn't walking away from the faith. We was walking away from fraud. We rebels again. We was handed doctrines dipped in dominance. Reconstruction. While the system's abused and sacred, but that wasn't truth. That was hypocrisy. So we tore it down, not because we hate truth, but because we love it too much. Reconstruction. We ain't lost. We architects now. We not destroying. We're clearing space to rebuild. A faith that can breathe. A gospel that liberates. Reconstruction. A Jesus who overturns tables and temples built on control. This ain't a crisis of belief. It's a reconstruction for clarity. And when the dust settles, reconstruction will still be standing on a firm reconstruction. And in closing, that was it. In closing, I'll tell you, deconstruction isn't fun. But I want to be a part of the putting back together. I want to see what that looks like. I want to see if we can do it. Because I think we can. I've already done quite a bit in my own life. And there's such a freedom, there's such health that comes with it. I want to keep helping other people. I mean, if you knew the amount of pastors and people I meet with, that they're dealing with complicated issues and complicated things, and they want to just continue on as it can be, and I'm just like, it doesn't work like that. You can try, but you're going to have to change your thinking. You're going to have to change your mind. You're going to have to put things back in a different order. Maybe some things won't go back in because they don't fit. They don't fit anymore. I get it, and that is painful. There are certain things that I honestly, I want to put it back in, but I can't yet. I'm still processing it. I'm still thinking about it. I'm still praying about it. I'm still asking God about it. I'm still talking with other people about it. And if we can do that together in this construct of people, I think there's some health that can come out of it. I think that's what we do every single week. This is a safe place. We're processing. We're thinking. We're not trying to get people to walk away from their faith. We're just getting people to say, why do I have faith? What is faith? And if you can't ask those questions, that is an unhealthy environment that you got to be careful of. This is that place. This is a place where we can talk about Jesus. We can talk about what he did. We can talk about God. We can talk about our faith. We can talk about church. We can talk about ministry. We can talk to each other about our own personal lives. Well, why did this happen? I don't understand why this happened. That's a great question. I don't have the answer, but I'm going to be here with you while we wrestle those things out. Amen?